we saw a few different things at Road America that I think a lot of people argued about. I think there was a lot of, even today, we're recording this on a Tuesday, but we saw IndyCar tweet out a video of Jack Harvey's start, which to a lot of people, including Jenna Pryor, who's a journalist that writes about motorsport, looked like a jump start penalty. And the tough thing about Road America, to give people an idea, that start, they try to get us going very late. So we have the field stacked up really nicely, so it looks like the way it did. But the problem is the accordion effect. And it doesn't matter how experienced we are as drivers. Everyone is selfish. Everyone's trying to get the jump. And with that trying to get the jump, you get on the throttle and you hit the brakes. And that only extends all the way through the field. Like if you watch Colton start, like Colton is holding the throttle very as you should, but everyone behind are the one creating this accordion. And so Jack looked like he jumped the start, got away with it. But in general, most people were getting away with most things this race. And I think that has really been the standard that's been set. And I am not a fan of it. I think our racing can be more respectful. I think our racing can be better. But because no one's getting penalized for, unless you like really dump someone off. Now, there were a couple incidents and we can talk about a lot of them, but like Rinus VeeKay, for example, former teammate, great driver. I mean, he flat out wrecked Felix Rosenqvist. Like, doesn't matter how you look at it, he wrecked him. And Felix went way out there. So again, I'm not quite sure. Like that wasn't even side-to-side contact, like side-to-side racing. So again, maybe there was so much going on to where the stewards didn't have a chance to take a look at it. I don't know. But like that's just wrecking someone. So what are we that racing? I don't think we are. I think I've seen plenty of IndyCar racing in my career. Like I've done over 100 races. There's been plenty of races where I've been able to go side by side with people through corners at road courses, street courses. It doesn't matter what it is. It depends on who it is as well. But I think we're getting away from that. And I even saw it with Joseph Newgarden. Joseph Newgarden has been a guy that in my career has always raced very respectfully. And we saw Joseph Newgarden run Christian Lundgaard off in the hairpin there, turn 5, which is a big passing zone. And some people seem to have a problem with it. Like I have done the same, like literally we had the same thing happen with me and Graham Rahal, like in Barber, right? Round the outside of a hairpin, I get run off the track, no penalty. The stewards actually did come to me the next week, and I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the podcast, but Max Pappas and Ari Leindijk did come to me the following weekend at the Indy GP, and they're like, hey, we're sorry, we probably should have penalized Graham there. And so I was like, okay, great. Well, that doesn't do anything for me now. But I appreciated their honesty on that. But if that is a penalty, if that should have been penalized, then there was no penalty. So there's just a lot of confusion on what the rules are. I would say. And what was penalized, which was interesting, and I kind of want to give people an idea on this. You saw Pato O'Ward block Santino and kind of put Santino off on the straight. Now, that is dangerous. Like, that is why they penalized that. A lot of people asked, why was Pato penalized and why was Joseph not? Or why was Rinus not? The blocking on the straights at, let's say, 175 miles an hour, that is dangerous. Like, if Pato makes that move any more aggressive, Santino crashes at 175 miles an hour, like, it becomes a big shunt. And there's no runoff there either. Like, it was just grass. So there are differing levels of, I would say, doing bad things, but it was more, and maybe as someone who I don't watch the races after I'm done. I don't watch them. So I haven't seen all of the stuff that's happened this year, but I know that I've been a victim of several things this year. And I have also run people off like Joseph did to Christian Lundgaard. Like, I did that to Santino at the Indy GP, like, because that's how we race, right? He tried to stay on the outside. Nope, run him off. But that's how we're racing. If we're not going to get penalized, that's how it has to happen. So didn't stop anyone, but that's kind of what we've got going on right now. What do you think, Ben?
One thing I noticed this year too is, and this could be, I've seen this from Pato probably the most, is the late moves, the late like under braking, like dive down in there. Do you think because of that, it's harder for them to judge if it's a racing incident or not? Because if you make a late move, but you're still kind of under control, but you still dive down in there deep because you argue there's more room for it to be called a racing run versus just flat out you're side by side and you just run them off.
I mean, I think if you look at a lot of different incidents, there's, oh man, he really tried, and he also tried to get out of it, and maybe that wasn't like intentional. You know, there's 100 different ways you can look at it. Sadly, it's a very opinionated type thing. Like, if you are on the inside and you run the car that's on the outside off the track, that is your fault. Like, that's not the person on the outside's fault. Like, technically, when there's room to race, we as race car drivers are going to use that room, right? And I think even Joseph, like when he came together with Alex Palou, when he was passing him into turn 6 after the hairpin, like just boom, gave him a quick little hip check. That could have been bad. I mean, that could have ruined Alex's race right there. Alex somehow got control of it. But there's definitely a lot that's happening that, as a fan who watched it on the outside, I was a little disappointed. I was like, man, if I see some of this stuff happen, I know as a driver, I'd be like, I don't know how that guy isn't getting penalized. You know what I mean? Like, it just looks silly. It just doesn't, like, we love to see good racing, but I would have rather have seen those guys go side by side up the hill, or, Joseph and Christian, or, I would have rather seen, if you make a mistake, like, hey, sorry, but it is what it is. But to see like Renus get penalized for an unsafe release and not what happened on the track, I mean, it just looks strange to throw some penalties in. And the pit lane stuff is important because, we got guys flying around there, guys and girls flying around in the pit lane. So that I understand. But there was just a lot there. The Santino Pato thing, I understood. Blocking is definitely something that is very, very important to keep track of, because we can't cause massive accidents at fast tracks like that. But a lot of the cars that were running each other off the road, it was definitely interesting to watch.